You have no fangs, no claws worth mentioning. You cannot outrun a deer, overpower a bear, or see clearly in the dark like an owl. By the rules of the wild, you look strangely fragile. A human standing alone in a forest has soft skin, slow reflexes, poor night vision, and none of the weapons that make a lion, wolf, crocodile, or shark terrifying. And yet, put your voice into a landscape full of wild animals, and something strange can happen. They run. Not always. Not everywhere. Not every individual animal. But in several experiments, wildlife has reacted more strongly to ordinary human voices than to the sounds of large predators built to hunt them. A calm conversation, not shouting, not gunfire, not a threat, just people talking. So why do wild animals fear humans so much? To answer that, we first need to understand something important. Scientists cannot ask a zebra what it is afraid of. They cannot walk up to an elephant and say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how dangerous does that human seem? Instead, they watch behavior. Does the animal stop feeding? Does it freeze? Does it look toward the sound? Does it flee? How quickly does it leave? Does it avoid returning to the same place? Those actions become clues. One of the most powerful tools for studying those clues is called a playback experiment. Researchers place a hidden speaker in a natural setting. Then they wait for an animal to come close enough to hear it. The speaker plays a sound, perhaps a lion's vocalization, a barking dog, a bird call, or a recording of human speech. Cameras capture what happens next. This lets scientists compare reactions under controlled conditions. The animal may hear a lion one night, a human voice another night, and a harmless control sound on another occasion. The animal does not know it is part of an experiment. It only knows something is there. And it has to decide whether to stay or leave. This is connected to a larger idea in ecology called the landscape of fear. Every wild animal lives in a physical landscape. There are rivers, trees, grasslands, cliffs, dens, nesting sites, waterholes, and places to find food. But there is also an invisible landscape, a map of danger. An animal may know that one open field has good grass but little cover. It may know that one riverbank has water but also crocodiles. It may know that a forest path is safe during daylight, but dangerous after dark. Fear shapes where animals go, when they move, how long they feed, and how much risk they are willing to take. That means a predator does not always need to kill an animal to affect it. If deer spend less time eating because they are watching for wolves, their growth may change. If small mammals avoid a food-rich area because an owl hunts there, their behavior changes. If animals stay hidden more often, they may lose opportunities to feed, mate, or care for young. Fear can reshape an ecosystem without a single visible attack. And that brings us back to humans. Where do we sit on an animal's map of danger? A study in England offered an unsettling clue. Researchers tested the reactions of European badgers to recordings of different sounds. Badgers are not helpless animals. They are tough, alert, and capable predators themselves. The researchers played vocalizations from large carnivores, along with recordings of people speaking. The badgers showed caution around the sounds of large predators, but human voices had an especially strong effect on their foraging behavior. They became more reluctant to feed. That was interesting, but one study in one place cannot answer a global question. Maybe those badgers had unusual experiences with people. Maybe they simply found human speech unfamiliar. Maybe a hidden speaker itself created confusion. So researchers needed to look wider. In South Africa's Greater Kruger National Park, scientists built automated camera and speaker systems at waterholes. These are places where wildlife has to come eventually. Animals can avoid many dangers, but water is harder to ignore. The researchers recorded the responses of 19 species, including giraffes, zebras, warthogs, leopards, hyenas, elephants, rhinoceroses, and lions. Then the hidden speakers played different sounds, human voices, lion vocalizations, hunting-related sounds, and non-threatening control sounds. The result was striking. Across thousands of trials, wildlife as a whole was more likely to run from human voices than from lions. Animals also left the waterholes faster after hearing humans. 95% of the species quachas tested showed a stronger response to people than to lions in at least one key measure of fear. Think about that for a moment. A lion is one of the most dangerous hunters on the African savanna. It can kill large prey. It hunts at night. It attacks from cover. It is an animal that many species are built to detect and avoid. Yet an ordinary human voice could trigger an even stronger response. That does not mean every animal thinks a human is physically stronger than a lion. Fear is not a contest of muscles. Fear is a calculation of risk. And humans are unusual risks. A lion hunts in ways animals understand. It stalks. It hides. It attacks. It eats. A zebra, antelope, or buffalo has evolved alongside lions for countless generations. They have strategies. They watch the grass. They stay in groups. They use alarm signals. They run, kick, charge, or circle around vulnerable young. A lion is dangerous, but it is familiar. Humans can be different. We move through landscapes in groups. We carry weapons. We use projectiles. We hunt from far away. We set traps. We return repeatedly. We use dogs, vehicles, lights, boats, fences, and technology that other animals do not have. And unlike many predators, humans often target healthy adults. A lion may take an animal that is young, old, injured, isolated, or unlucky. A wolf pack may focus on prey it can safely bring down. That is not because lions and wolves are gentle. It is because hunting is expensive. An injury can be deadly, so predators often make choices that reduce risk. Humans can make different choices. A global analysis of hunting and fishing compared human behavior with that of other predators. It found that humans often kill adult prey at much higher rates than non-human predators. Adults are often the reproductive core of a population, the animals old enough, strong enough, and experienced enough to produce the next generation. Humans also kill other large predators at unusually high rates. We hunt the hunters, and we do it with tools that let us act from distances where teeth and claws do not matter. To an animal, that may make humans difficult to predict. A leopard cannot throw a spear. A wolf cannot set a wire snare. A lion cannot shoot from hundreds of meters away. Humans can. That does not mean every person is dangerous. Most people who visit a park, hike a trail, photograph wildlife, or work in conservation are not trying to harm animals. But wildlife does not always have the luxury of waiting to discover your intentions. If an animal's ancestors survived by fleeing people early, then fleeing early is a smart strategy. The cost of running away from a harmless person may be a few lost minutes of feeding. The cost of staying near a dangerous person may be everything. This is why fear can spread through generations without needing words. Animals can learn from direct experience. A deer that is chased by a person may become more cautious. A bird that sees another bird trapped may avoid a similar place. A mother may lead young away from areas where danger is common. Over time, natural selection can also favor animals that are alert to threats humans create. But we need to be careful here. It would be wrong to say that every wild animal everywhere is born terrified of humans. Some are not. One of the most famous examples comes from islands. When Charles Darwin visited the Galapagos Islands, he described animals that allowed people to come unusually close. Birds, reptiles, and marine animals sometimes showed little fear because they had evolved with few or no land predators capable of hunting them in the ways continental animals experienced. That lack of fear was not proof that the animals were foolish. It was proof that fear has costs. If you run from everything all the time, you waste energy. You lose feeding time. You abandon nests. You miss opportunities. Animals need fear to be accurate. On islands where humans historically hunted less, or where large predators were absent, animals may have had fewer reasons to treat an approaching human as an emergency. But once humans began arriving more often, hunting, collecting animals, bringing invasive predators, or changing habitats, that calmness could become deadly. So the fear of humans is not identical in every location. It depends on history. It depends on exposure. It depends on whether animals are hunted, protected, fed, chased, photographed, trapped, displaced, or left alone. In some tourist areas, animals may become habituated. They see people repeatedly and learn that those people do not attack. In other places, an animal may flee the moment it catches a human scent. Both responses can make sense. The surprise from playback studies is not that wildlife knows humans can be dangerous. The surprise is how strongly some species react even when the only evidence is a calm human voice. Researchers have also tested this idea in Australia. Scientists used playback experiments with native marsupials and introduced deer. The animals heard human voices, along with sounds from other potential threats and harmless controls. Again, human voices produced powerful flight responses. Some native marsupials were substantially more likely to flee from people than from Tasmanian devil vocalizations. That matters because it challenges a simple explanation. You might think animals only fear humans when they have spent thousands of years being hunted by humans in the same landscape. But even in places with different evolutionary histories, animals can quickly learn that people are a danger worth avoiding. Still, there is another important limitation. A playback experiment measures behavior. It does not directly measure emotion. When an elephant leaves a waterhole, we can say it responded to a sound. We can measure how fast it left. We can compare that response to the response produced by lion calls. But we cannot climb into the elephant's mind and prove it felt fear exactly the way a human feels fear. Maybe it heard a human voice and remembered danger. Maybe it detected an unfamiliar sound. Maybe it was reacting to the location, time of day, or recent experience. That is why good science avoids dramatic claims that go beyond the data. The experiments do not prove that every animal on Earth fears humans more than every other predator. They do show something serious. In several carefully designed studies across different species and landscapes, human presence or human voices can produce exceptionally strong anti-predator responses. And those responses can have consequences. If animals avoid waterholes, feeding grounds, trails, or nesting areas because of people, then even non-lethal human activity can reshape their lives. A hiking trail may alter when deer move. A busy shoreline may alter where seals rest. A tourist road may change how elephants use water. A human voice in the forest may be harmless to us, but to an animal it may be a signal that the landscape has changed. That does not mean people should never enter nature. It means we should understand that nature notices us. We often think we are the observers. We walk quietly with binoculars. We wait behind cameras. We whisper on a trail and imagine we are invisible. But to wildlife, we are often the event. We are the sound that interrupts feeding, the scent that changes a path, the shape that appears where no shape should be, the unpredictable predator that can arrive with no claws, no fangs, and no need to get close. Maybe that is why a lion can feel more understandable than a human. An animal knows what a lion is. It knows where lions rest. It knows which direction to run. It knows that a lion has limits. But humans can cross rivers, roads, forests, fences, oceans, and deserts. We can hunt at night. We can return with machines. We can change the landscape itself. So when an animal hears a human voice and disappears into cover, it may not be making a moral judgment about us. It may simply be doing what survival has taught it to do. Leaving early. Staying alive. The next time you walk through a forest, a beach, a savanna, or a quiet field, remember this. You may feel like a visitor, but somewhere nearby, an animal may have already heard you, and long before you ever saw it, it may have decided that disappearing was the safest thing it could do. Do you think wildlife can learn to feel safe around humans again, or is distance the kindest thing we can offer? Leave your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to Andy for more incredible stories from the natural world.